When you think failed Fantastic Four movies, you typically think about the Fox projects from the early 2000s and the more recent ones from the 2010s. However, Marvel wants you to forget about their first attempt at Fantastic Four that actually happened in the 90s. In 1994, Marvel made an extremely low budget Fantastic Four movie just so the producer and Fox can keep the rights to the characters, as they wanted to make the movie again in the early 2000s, as we know with the Jessica Alba and Chris Evans one, because it actually has the same producer. And funny enough, with this terrible Fantastic Four movie, they actually spent more money trying to keep it hidden than they spent on actually making the movie, which is insane.
Yeah, that is crazy, but it's true. Stan Lee was and understandably so embarrassed by this movie. This movie's it's bad, and I've told Griff, I've talked to friends about this movie, and half of my friends think I'm making this shit up. They're like, that can't exist. That's when I describe, mind you, they haven't seen it. When I describe the movie, they're like, that you've got to be making this shit up. I'm like, nope, it's out there. I have found it on YouTube, and I've been trying to get Griffin to watch it for the last 4 years, no pun intended. And I finally got him to watch it last night. It's pretty hilarious. I told him, I said, I'm gonna watch it, man. It's now or never. With the up and coming Fantastic Four, four steps, Marvel's probably gonna try to take this down off of YouTube. So watch it. So he watched it this morning. He got excited for it because I started describing certain things from the movie, and he was like, "Fuck it, I will watch it tomorrow," and he did. And sure enough, as he was watching it, he was just texting me, and we had a blast just tearing this movie apart. This movie cost somewhere around $4 to $6 million, and Marvel then went and spent about $12 million to keep it from hitting homes. But of course, then YouTube happened, and inevitably it's out there. Griffin and I found it. We'll be posting a link because I'm sure most of you guys won't believe us. Please follow the link and watch this shit bomb. This movie does follow the comics, the very early comics, but it's just some of the shit that's in here, man. Although I watched it last night, Griff reminded me of probably one of the worst moments in this movie. Reed Richards and Susan Storm marry each other, and this fool, she's wearing a wedding dress. This dork is wearing the his Fantastic Four, Mr. Fantastic outfit, and it makes no fucking sense. Obviously, this is 1994. The special effects, they didn't have the budget for it. Because remember, Jurassic Park came out in 92, 91.
Dude, you're being way too fucking nice. This movie looked like it was made at the goddamn 60s. This movie looks like garbage. I swear, any clips in this video and the link that we sent, that we put in the description, are the best you could watch it. It just looks that bad.
It's horrible. Ben Grimm's The Thing is the. I will say this though. Still, this is a far better movie than Catwoman. The acting in this movie, although it's terrible, it's better than anything Halle Berry did with Catwoman. And yeah, the suits are awful. They Reed is in college with Victor Von Doom. And I do like that part because that is a part of the comics, and that's something that we're hoping to see. Susan's around. She's 11, and he shows up at and I'm still not sure why, but Ben's playing video games with little Johnny. Reed shows up. He gives Susan an innocent kiss on the cheek, and she loses her mind. She's drooling over Reed. Obviously, there's an incident with Victor. Fast forward 10 years later, and we meet Susan. And Susan is an attractive woman, but mind you, Reed's about 10 years older than her. When he was in college, he looked older than me. He looked to be in his 40s. And then when they meet up again, he hasn't aged a day, except that he's now got, and they've done this in every Fantastic Four movie except for Baby Fantastic Four, but they give him the gray hair just on the sides. And the way they do it is literally, you could tell they just painted white shit on the side of Reed's head. It looks dumb as fuck. We get Mole Man in here.
Who is even called Mole Man? He's called the Jeweler.
Yeah. Um, we do get Doctor Doom in an accurate, if you will, Doctor Doom outfit, but you can tell. I've seen cosplays that are 1,000 times better than this. It's really cheap plastic, and they don't even make metallic sounds for it. And he's wearing like the cheapest. It's as if he tried to cosplay as Link from Legend of Zelda. It's bad. It's of course the special effects. Johnny flames flames up once in the movie. I complained a lot about Chris Evans's fire special effects in his versions of the Fantastic Four. I'm sorry, Chris, I take it all back. That shit was light years ahead of this.
I
This
guarantee half
is
their budget went to
horrible.
that scene too.
Oh, absolutely. When you use it, when you flame on once, that's because that's where all the money went. That's why.
Absolutely. Yeah. I gotta give it to this movie. It is the most comic accurate Fantastic Four movie we will ever get. And I think that's a good thing. And if you still think we need a comic accurate Fantastic Four movie, watch this movie and let us know afterwards if you still believe it. Because yeah, I mean, even in the comics, Reed and Susan are 10 years apart. He's not actually grooming her, but he's played with her when she's a kid, and now he plays with her and she's an adult. It's fucking weird.
You saying it like
I
that?
know. Trust me. It's fucking weird. He's known her for 10 years, and I get it. A 10-year age gap may not be too bad depending on your age, but the fact that
It's not
he's
so
known
bad if you
her,
didn't.
he's known her for
Okay,
that long. That's the issue.
so the way that Griffin explains it makes makes it seem a lot. It makes it a lot worse. So like if you didn't if he had never ran into Susan when she was a child, because that's what she
I would have been a
was.
lot more okay with it.
And yeah, 100%. And Reed walks into her. I'm attracted to Susan if you watch this movie. This movie's a shit bomb, but she's an attractive woman. And she's not a minor. So I could see Reed being attracted
Yeah,
to her.
that's
And I could
okay. It's the
see,
fact that
I
he
could,
knew her when she was 11.
the fact that he was over there playing with her,
Not
that's
to
fucked up.
mention the fact that we could assume they've known each other for a long time.
Absolutely.
Considering they've been going over to their house, it's
I don't know why her mom allows him
because
and Ben to
it's
be
the
at.
home for wayward kids, and they allow college students in to come help entertain the kids in there because I don't know. It is a little weird. You're right, but
We know enough
they've
today to
been
know that
at
that shit won't
school
end well.
for 4 years at this point. We can
Sure.
assume that he's known her since she was like between 7 and 10, which just makes it worse. It's fucking bad. But
I will
as
say
a
one thing about this marriage. It's not like there's something that he could be surprised by her by. He's known her since she was probably fucking 7, so he knows
God,
her. That sounds fucked up, but he knows he. Nah, I'm not gonna say it. I'm just
this
not gonna
that
say
is
it.
the worst part about the
Let's move
movie.
on to Doom.
But again, it is the most comic accurate, which the comics are fucked up. This movie is made in the 90s, but it's portraying a 60s comic, so it is extremely outdated, and you can tell. The acting in this movie, I want to say they're doing the best they can. But in one
Absolutely.
scene, they're trapped in like this tractor beam and they're getting hit by electricity. You have Johnny Storm wigging the fuck out, and everyone else is like standing still with like a grimace on their face, and he's over here just fucking wiggling like a worm. Dude, this every scene in this movie is fucking
I
laughable.
told Griffin, I said,
It's
one of the things that, and I get it, it does follow the comics, but still stupid as fuck to watch. So the reason why Susan, I get why Reed is going, and
I get why Ben's
Ben's
going.
ex Air Force pilot. He's an astronaut. Reed is this, he's Dr. Reed Richards at this point. I get that 100%. But I texted Griffin immediately. I was like, the reason why these two kids go, well, they're not kids anymore, but the reason why they go, it makes just like out of nowhere. He's like, hey, we need other crew members. Next scene, they're at their home and they're knocking on the door.
But again, in the
And
60s
he's like,
iteration, that's exactly what happens.
I know, but it's fucking
It's
dumb. It's like,
fucking dumb.
they're not astronauts. They're not, it's like, why? First of all, what do you need them for? And the only reason Susan's there is so she could hook up with Reed, which I get, but okay. So once they're off in space in the world's dumbest spaceship, the suits, man, that all the budget went to Johnny
They're wearing
flaming on
tinfoil.
because they're wearing, yeah, there's no like what they're wearing. Okay, so if you guys are fans of the Power Rangers, you saw Day of the Dumpster, the very first episode, right? I think they borrowed that shit from there. It's they're essentially wearing the same shit, just tinfoil, a helmet, boom, let's go. And then they crash land. First of all, when they're in space, that's the worst I've ever seen space. Can't be that hard. It's just
Star
black.
Trek got it better, and that was made years before.
It's bad. It's pretty
This movie's
awful.
a train wreck. Oh my God. But Doctor Doom. This is the first attempt they made at Doctor Doom, and arguably it's again one more accurate. But for a monarch of Latveria, and he is the monarch in this movie, they chose the worst fucking spot to put his castle. Oh my God, it's on the cliff, not near the town, no roads going to it. It is the worst spot in the world. And he has no magic. He's just a guy in with a mask and a green cloak that has knife hands. He just has really sharp nails, and that's it. Oh, and a gun. Like his henchmen aren't even Doombots, which is fine, but at least have
He
him
kind
wear
of
the
always has a
mask.
gun.
Yeah,
Even in comics and in some of the cartoons,
but
he's had a gun. I don't mind the
it's
gun, but
the
yeah,
gun's
the little
fine, but the
nails.
nails are stupid. Having nothing else is insane. Like we saw his intelligence in the first scene. They established it so quickly. And then he has someone else build him a laser and he doesn't do shit this entire movie.
To be fair, and I hate
There's no
defending
being
movies
fair.
like this. There is, trust me. We fucking Robert Downey Jr., man. You better get it right. We
It's
have
true.
yet to see a mystical, magical, scientifically involved Victor Von Doom on screen.
Yeah, that's
We
true.
haven't had that yet. I still can't believe I'm saying that shit, but we haven't had that yet. One shoots lightning, the other one's a blogger. This one doesn't do shit. I'm telling you,
God, we
RDJ,
hope
you better do it.
he better. And honestly, the list of terrible things this movie just goes on and on. We would be here for about the length of the movie. Honestly, it is a funny movie to watch just because it's funny in a bad way. And if it's something that you feel like maybe up your alley, if you're like Mystery Science Theater 3000, this could definitely be something for you. Or if you just want to see where Fantastic Four started to get a little bit more appreciation for the other ones, the links in the description. But we've warned you. There's not much great writing's terrible, dialogue's even worse. There's nothing makes sense in this movie at
I
all.
would really like you for you guys to hit the link, go give it a shot, watch it. At the very least, throw a roasting party, order a
Yeah.
pizza, have a couple of friends over, watch this shit in the background, and give us your thoughts on it. We're gonna be diving into all of the Fantastic Four movies that Fox has managed to pump out.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, go check out our trailer review for Fantastic Four First Steps. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe so you can join us next week when we review Chris Evans and Jessica Alba's 2000 Fantastic Four movie.
Take care, guys.